So, over to you,
I don't
Drat.
know. Okay. Right. Deadlands Classic, otherwise known as the Weird West, where history took a very different path after an earthquake in the 19th century, sorry, 18th century, and as a result, creaturesandthings.com are roaming the not United States, the fractured civil war still ongoing America, and a new gold rush boom has occurred as the earthquake that fragged most of California has resulted in the exposure of a new mineral called ghost rock, which has allowed for the powering of incredible, strange devices. Think of it as coal on steroids, and you'll be getting into the right vicinity. Probably magic, but hey, who knows? Not me, or at least not I'm telling you. Anyway.
There's no such thing as magic.
Yes, somebody here has the Doubting Thomas ability. Well, ability, disadvantage. Essentially, what we have now is the Confederacy and the Union are still at war. It's simmered down into slightly warmer than the Cold War, but not full-blown twatting each other at all points.
It's a
but
state
they
of
are
limited
still hostile,
war, as I recall,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, the front is still very much live. And as I said, creatures and strange things now roam. Magic has returned, apparently.
Re my camera, Frucci, assuming you are talking to me, I'm using an auto blur feature. So when the camera is not confused, the background behind me should be blurred and me not. When it gets confused, it'll blur me as well, and that's when it's going to go all fuzzy and weird. And in the meantime, yes, I've got the sepia filter and the hat just to make it properly look like I'm an inhabitant of Black Dust Creek.
Which are not yet.
Yeah. I tried to get the sepia filter set up on the other guys as well, but I had to do it manually for them and I couldn't make it look good, so I'll have to come back to that and try and do it later for the next session.
Yeah. Well, with any luck, next session I may be pinching your overlay and doing it myself, but I came down to I could get any semblance of a game ready, or I could do the overlay and the stream prep. I couldn't do both because life.
Well, presumably if it was going out, if you got the overlay sorted out, it would presumably then be going out on your stream instead of my stream.
Yes.
So the odds are I'd stream it on mine as well anyway, unless you ask me not to.
Yeah, this is true. Yes, the rest of him is blurry, but his face is fine. And the face
I'll tell you what,
we're
I'll turn the level of blur down a bit, and then it might be less obvious when it goes horribly wrong.
Are you currently in the Antipodes, or are you just only just getting up now, Mazza?
He's right. He's just confused. He always is, aren't you, Matt?
Yes. Yeah,
And,
we're on the
cheers for
tea.
the tea.
Yes, yes, we're on the tea.
With matching R2D2 travel mugs.
Yes.
Groovy.
And greetings to you,
And
Nightbites.
good morning, apparently, Night Bites.
Yes. So we are going for a character intro. We're also basically this is the first time I've run Deadlands in years.
A while.
A while.
I've actually run Deadlands more recently than you.
Yes.
Because I ran that one shot for my Pathfinder group about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Fun for the fun. So the fun and games I've got is that I'm trying very hard to remember how the hell this works. So we shall have a certain degree of diving into the rulebook.
You only need to worry about the rulebook when we actually do something that needs rules.
Yeah, I know.
Just for mutilating the assorted American accents and generally causing great offence to our transatlantic cousins. We don't need the rulebook for that. We can do it without.
Yeah, I need possibly some kind of scrolling blanket apology.
Well, I've got a scrolling message. I can add it if you want. I can put it underneath the thing saying you're watching Hobby Gamers International.
Yes, murdering assorted American accents with malice
I have the
aforethought.
perfect cop-out excuse.
Oh,
I'm an American,
you what?
so I don't have to try.
Yes, that's cheating. Mazza worked last night, so he only just got up. Okay, fair enough. Night shifts are an excellent excuse then for this being morning. In my humble. Okay. Picture this. The sun is setting over the Nevada desert. It is Nevada, I checked.
Oh, it is. Well.
Yeah, I also looked up Utah, realised what was going on in Utah, quietly turned the page and decided I didn't want to go anywhere near it.
Are you telling me that Utah in Deadlands is even more filled than Utah in real life?
Theocracy!
Okay. Yeah, it is. Just barely.
Yeah, actual official theocracy. Woohoo! Not going anywhere near there. As you get, someone's supposed to play so much Warhammer they now speak German. Yes.
Das Vermintide.
Don't even go there, Fish. I mean, we're going to get enough trouble mutilating the American accents.
Is
let alone
Dr.
anyone
Fallacious
else's.
Con not turning up, then?
Oh.
No, we've got our own Fallacious Crom now. We've got Mark. Oh,
Yeah.
I apparently lost my camera. Where did it go? It's come back.
I don't know.
That was interesting.
We're recovering Mark, apparently.
I wonder if that's why I lost my camera, if it got confused somewhere down the
Yeah.
line when we lost Mark's connection.
Yeah. So fingers
So,
crossed Mark will
as
come back.
as any of you who have spoken to Robinson at any point, either in person or on Discord, will be aware, he is disconnected, usually from the world, currently from the internet as well.
This is a problem because it's kind of centered on his character.
Yeah, and it really, unless you want to very hastily ad-lib a solo intro that leads Rico to where his character is, and then get on with this plot next time, we're not going to go very well without him.
Actually, I can.
He's back!
My God, he's back. Damn.
My stepdad
wait,
forgot
that
to
came
change
out.
the internet settings.
Ah,
I was just thinking it's 8 o'clock. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he just forgot to update it.
Yep.
I had to go and shout him.
I would have gone with asking nicely. Maybe it's just me. Okay. The sun is setting over the Nevada desert. Scrubland surrounds you as your stagecoach rumbles on at a reasonable but not desperate pace.
unfortunately, we don't
James-
have sound for that because my sound settings completely
Yeah.
screwed up immediately before the game. So all the time I spent in Sirenscape getting this set up was utterly wasted. Sorry
Yes.
to you guys for not having the sound. Lazarus, I hate you.
Yes. James E. Wardenclyffe, late of the British Isles, is riding in a thoroughly uncomfortable situation with a largish gentleman in a three-piece suit, clutching a heavy, solid briefcase, and a pretty woman with an excessive number of petticoats and what you suspect to be a parasol hung over her arm.
Now, I just
She
want to
keeps
check.
staring
It's the
at you.
parasol hung over her arm, not the petticoats as well, right? I just want to be sure about this.
That's going
It's
into a whole
suspected
different
parasol.
area.
And apologies to everybody in chat. I am now launching Lazarus Avatar, so I'm afraid your peace and quiet is just ended.
Okie dokie. Yeah. The night wind blows in cool through the windows. And let's be honest here, the cracks in the body of the stagecoach. You've been on the road for the last day and a half. This was your most economical way of getting to the town of Black Dust Creek, which is all your ultimate destinations. You get the feeling that it's not necessarily a happy trip for either of your two companions, but needs must and all that. So, as night falls around you, and your world basically becomes the inside of a stagecoach with one swinging lantern and the occasional expletives coming from the driver's bulk, as your driver Carl whips up to slightly knackered by now horses. What are you doing?
Complaining.
You're complaining. Right.
Terrible service.
Oh God. I apologise. I'm so sorry, guys, for the accent that's about to happen.
Just thinking, by the way, out of interest, do we assume that the character templates in Deadlands are actually built correctly?
I think they're supposed to be, yes.
Because if so, I can just take the gear directly from the Texas Ranger and not
Yeah.
waste time over spending money myself.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah. If you don't mind, though, I may sub out the Confederate script since I'm not actually in Confederate territory.
That makes sense. You've been out of Confederate territory.
Yeah, I
long
might
enough
sort of
to
like
sort
maybe
it.
put it about halfway, so I've got half of it still Confederate and half of it in Union script, because I'd have changed some, but I'll probably still have stuff in my saddlebag from the good old days.
Night, your southern drawl is not what's worrying me. This is worrying me. Oh, sugar. It's not so bad. And we'll be in civilization soon. Well, you say civilization. Well, it'll be a town and real beds. And the young lady who you learned on first meeting yesterday is called Missy Trobrier, reaches over and pats you on the knee, dimpling.
Awkward.
She doesn't seem to find it awkward in the slightest. The larger gentleman in the brown suit clutches his briefcase onto his lap, as he has the entire time he's been travelling. He's got that whole about to get off the bus pose. He introduced himself on boarding as Eric Hornstedler and left it at that. He has an East Coast accent, not as far east as you. You're from the British Isles. She has an accent somewhere south, but you're not sure where, because really they all sound the same to you.
Yeah, they sound
They're all
American.
furners.
So, aside from whinging about the service, is there anything you would like to do, say, talk about?
It gets cold at night in deserts.
Sure.
I put
I'm
something
sure-
warm.
Yeah, I'm sure there's ways to warm up.
Yeah, let's shuffle away from the strange woman.
She's perhaps 19.
She's just a little bit too 3D for his tastes.
Yeah, Missy is maybe 18, 19, has an unfeasible number of blonde curls, and is wearing a dress that, while not inappropriate for the era,
Is that like posh
It's-
curls or plastic curls?
we're talking several hours probably it took to start these off, and in another day she's going to need to redo them again, probably involving the tied up with ribbons. But yes, there's no plastic curls. Hairspray is not a thing.
Yeah, well, I was just like the sort of forced artificial. But
Well, she probably doesn't have natural curls, but it's hard to tell.
okay.
Oh, there are some things I shouldn't giggle about. Mim. Okay, for those on stream, You just heard what the characters heard. For those off stream, unfortunately, you didn't because I haven't got voice meter running. But
Yeah.
I wanted some form
Well,
of
after the
sound
problems I
effect.
had with it today, I'm
Yeah.
not
And a
surprised.
noise.
Yes. What you heard was the howl of something.
That was great. This is a great
In
start.
the distance, off somewhere to your right.
I had howl noises set up as well.
Back in Britain, nothing tries to kill you when travelling.
I'm sorry if you've not been on the loop. Oh, sorry, no. Wait.
They don't try to kill you there, they just try to mope you, don't they?
Well, yeah.
If you
And,
believe the fiction coming out of Britain at this point, plenty of things try to kill you, but it's okay because the case is always solved by that chap in Baker Street. This is one of the things I've always loved about the Wild West. You look
Yeah.
at these cowboy movies and things, and you've got all this sort of, this wonderful frontier primitive zone with no real law, and everybody's packing heat, and then you think, and this is taking place at the same time as the Sherlock Holmes stories. Exactly the same time.
Yep.
In fact, the first Sherlock Holmes book, half of it was a cowboy story.
Specifically Utah. Again.
Yep. I've always loved that. It's a wonderful juxtaposition. It just gives you an idea of how things are different in different parts of the world at different times.
Yeah, it is. And members of the Pinkerton Agency were known to turn up in home stories.
Yep. Americans turned up quite a lot, actually. I have a feeling Conan Doyle wasn't fond of them.
No, he loved them.
They seem
He
to turn
he
up as
was-
villains a lot.
Yeah, no, he himself was a USophile, Yankophile. But yeah, the second howl, which Stream heard and you didn't, comes from somewhere off to your left. As the stagecoach rumbles on. You feel a slight jerk.
But that's nothing unusual for you.
But, yeah, pauses to let that one happen. As the coach speeds a little, jerks, and you hear a crack of the whip as Carl whips up the horses. You might want to hold on to something there, he calls back.
Great.
I'm not liking the sound of this, and think I saw some lights. I'd like to get out of here before, well, just before. And he snaps his whip, and the horses leap forwards again.
Sorry to interrupt. I thought before I had reloaded that it was showing that we had fate chips.
It
Now
did, sorry.
it's not showing that we have fate chips.
Yes,
Did they
I-
disappear or do we not have them?
You do have them. I was trying to work out a way to take them off you for spending purposes, but you can't recall the individual cards to the deck, so it's going to be slightly less useful than I'd hoped. But we'll have to deal with this. So, yes, I will deal you some fate
Oh,
chips.
and I hope this isn't... Is Lazarus just died? Please don't tell me Lazarus has just died. Nope, we're back.
still
Good.
there?
Okay. Now,
Okay.
everything locked up for a moment, and I thought that possibly Laz had crashed again at the worst possible time,
Yeah.
but we're all right.
Okay.
There is a removal firm, Nightbites, locally called Whip Crap Away, which I think is
Yes.
a brilliant name. they
They
park just
park-
down the road from Drut.
Yes, they park up my road. It's very strange. So every time I walk past them, I start singing. So, yes, they now have fate chips. Which I can't see. Why can't I look at your fate chips?
Fate chips.
I should be able to
Oh
look at your fate
gosh.
chips.
What excitement my fate gives me.
What have you got?
I've got all whites.
Have you? Ouch.
Yeah.
Let me just check. Oh, right, okay, it's reset itself. Of course it has. Bum.
It occurs to me that this using a deck of cards like this, provided that it isn't too inconvenient is probably the best way to handle fate chips. And if it does work out to be worth doing, I'll work up a graphic for each card
Yeah.
with the chip and just the reminder of what that chip does, because I thought that would be really useful to be able to look at your chip pot and actually know what those chips are used for.
Yeah. Yeah, for reasons known to somebody else, I can't get at your fate chips.
Now, that seems odd. I would have thought the GM should be able to see people's hands. It's obviously something to do with the way it's set up, but because I
Yeah.
can't see the setup, I can't actually see if I can figure out why.
Oh, Roll20 has decided to reload the page, however.
Yeah, we are playing in Roll20, roll20.net, and that has the capability. It's got built into it a standard deck of cards, which we can use for initiative draws. But you can also create custom card decks.
That's
so
better.
we've done the Drut has put the chips together quickly just as a deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it still works exactly the same as if you're drawing from a pot, because each card can only be dealt out to somebody once.
Mm-hmm.
But it would appear to be slightly less useful for unless there is a way that we haven't yet figured out, or Drut hasn't yet figured out,
Which
to
you drag
put them
the
back
card
into
onto the deck.
the deck and reshuffle the deck, which is what we really
Yeah.
want to be able to do.
Yeah.
I'm
What I
fairly
can-
certain there is, but without actually looking up the instructions, I
No.
don't know what they are for reshuffling the deck without pulling back the cards that are already out.
I have, however, set it so that I can deal out specific cards. If it comes to it, I can simply recall everything and then deal out everything that hasn't come
Deal
back.
back out the ones that people should have. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So, Robinson's actually come out quite nicely, and poor old Fishy, oh dear.
At least I've got chips.
At least you have got chips. I did
Yeah.
explain to Robinson off screen what they can be used for. The most important one to bear in mind is they can be used to add to your skill rolls or trait rolls, and they can also be used to avoid wounds and wind damage.
Yeah.
Wind being fatigue.
And I think, quite importantly, I don't have the chips that aid the GM, do I? So while the white are the boring
You
chips,
don't.
they don't help you. They're just minimal in how they help me.
Yeah.
Is it?
Basically, the red chips are better than the white ones. But every time Robinson, in this case, gets to use one, I get to draw a chip.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it basically blue and red are the same, except that red gives you a chip and blue doesn't?
No, blue's better.
Blue's better. I thought blue was the
Yes.
same but doesn't give you a chip. That may be something they check, because I thought I got that from watching a
Legend
Wildcard
chips.
stream the other day. They may have changed it for Savage Worlds version.
Possibly, but legend chips are basically...
Oh, legend chips are awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a legend chip. Do you remember that night? We actually had a
Yes.
legend chip.
You did.
Yep, we were legendary. Then Remy deserved to be legendary because Remy was the man.
Okay.
And speaking of Remy,
Oh my god.
that is Remy Lacroix,
You have Remy. Excellent.
one of the most dangerous men in the West.
Yes.
Despite not having great stats and despite me rolling the dice, somehow he
Yes.
still managed to be one of the most dangerous men in the West.
Yep. He was. He wore the iconic
You-
big hat.
You know what? I was actually right.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I wasn't quite right, because the description and the reality don't match. The description in the rulebook says blue chips are just like red chips, except they don't give the marshal a draw.
Ah, okay.
However, looking at their bounty point value and the amount of wounds and wind that they will, is that cancel? Or
Yeah. Cancel.
yeah, they cancel more wounds than red. So the fact that they were just like red, only don't give you a draw, is wrong.
Yeah. They never have been exactly
Yeah,
the same value
no,
as red.
the description says they're the same, but the reality says they're not.
Blue and legendary can work to the same values, but legendary do so much more.
Actually, yeah,
Okay.
red do the same. I suppose blues do the same thing as reds, except where wounds are concerned and their bounty point cash in.
So not at all then.
Well, no, because you've got if you're not spending it for those things, white chips give you an extra die, whereas red chips and blue chips let you roll a bonus die and add it to your current die.
Yes.
Which is slightly different. Hang on. White chips give the character 1 extra die per chip spent, as if you had an extra point of aptitude or trait level.
Yeah.
Can spend them one at a time till happy with the result. Red chips let you roll a bonus die and add it to your highest current die.
Yes.
Because this is a roll
Blue
and keep
chips do the
system.
same.
You keep the
It
highest
is.
die.
Yeah.
So yeah, a white chip just lets you get an extra roll. A blue or a red chip adds to the roll you've already got. So that's really good.
Yes.
I mean, let's
Right.
say I've just rolled 11 on a d12 when trying to shoot something, and I get to roll another thing and add it to that. That's going to give me a pretty awesome result.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, the coach accelerates, and the lantern above you swings wildly, throwing strange shadows across your companions' faces. Missy squeals in very kawaii fashion. Don't make me even try it.
Is that her surname? Is she Missy Squeals?
No. Her name is Missy Trobrier.
I know.
What it was when her parents were around is anyone's guess.
Then she was Missy Squeals.
Probably. Yes, quite possibly.
No, then she was Vera Duckworth. Can't imagine why she changed it.
Okay. So, yes, I would like you, Mark. I would like James to make me. Oh, let's have a look. Let's go with. Oh no, hang on. Where's it gone? There is a spot. I'm sure there's a spot. I'm looking. I'm not seeing.
Scrutinize. Is that what you're talking about?
Scrutinize. Which he doesn't have. Awesome. It's also about his worst skill. So of all the things I could have asked for.
Yeah, that's the only spot skill. I was wondering whether there was more than one
Yeah.
spot skill, but no, it's scrutinize
there
and
isn't.
search.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I put the D10s in there because I wanted the total boost rather
So-
than the.
No, that's fair enough.
Trying to remember, but does that mean it would be a cognition roll? And does it penalise you or up the difficulty? I can't remember.
This is what I'm now just checking.
Yeah. See, as everybody hunts the rule books. Drat's going to find it first because she's using the PDF, which is searchable,
Yes.
whereas I've got the physical rule book in front of me, which is less searchable.
Yeah. Okay, so. I know what the difficulty
Unskilled
is.
checks, page 26.
Yep. Oh, no, not for me, it isn't.
No, it'd be a different because you've got the 20th anniversary, I've got the second edition player's handbook.
Yeah, on the other hand,
Downside
thank you
is
for
you
this one.
subtract 4 from the final result. You get
That was
you
it.
don't get to roll your full aptitude. You get to roll
You get to
one
roll
die,
one die.
and you have -4 to the final result. So that's seriously bad. So congratulations, everybody rolling on D6s for that.
Oh, God.
It's possible to have a D4.
Yeah.
You can get an automatic 0 or negative number.
Yes, if you have D4 in anything, for the love of God, take
Yes.
every skill under it.
Okay, so I'm rolling a single D10.
You
At least
are.
it's a D10. That could be a lot worse.
Yes.
1.
You are kidding.
That's including the negative 4, though. So I rolled a 5.
Okay. So the
There's
lights.
not one negative 4.
The lights are flicking around like crazy and throwing you totally.
I'm probably a bit panicked.
It's not the most comfortable you've ever been. I will say that.
3. I have 3 D10.
Yeah.
I can do scrutinize. Yeah.
Well, I'm very knowledgeable because I have 3D tools for that.
I apologise for keeping interrupting. It's just my character's not here yet, and I'm bored.
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Joke.
So, just to give an idea of what is going on over the rest of the.
I'm complaining about my sore bum.
Actually, nobody's going to hear it on my stream because I'm not actually putting out on my stream.
Ah.
Am I? I am, however, very tempted to stick you the link to the YouTube I was just doing.
Was it Fly the Valkyries?
No. Why would it be Fly to the Valkyries?
No,
On all possible things it could be.
So I was reading a book the other day, and they wrote out Flight of the Valkyries like tune. There was just do.
Dum diddy dum 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 diddy dum dum.
Dum diddy dum dum.
It was just. It was really strange.
Fish, I'm sticking you a link in Discord just for shizzles.
Hang on a moment, because I'm currently in the Discord. That'll get read out on stream, so give me a moment
okay.
to be in a different channel before you do that.
Okay.
Now send it.
Okay. Should you wish to let rip with that, so the audio goes out over your desktop audio?
Which hopefully it should.
It would.
That would deafen everyone there.
It could do. There we go. Those are the noises. Yeah.
I'm so glad my character isn't in yet.
Those are the noises you can now hear both to your left and to your right, and unfortunately your scrutinize check did absolutely nothing.
Well, I
Miss-
don't really know much about America, so it makes sense.
Missy goes diving across to the side of the coach that you're not on and sticks her head out of the window. And actually gets to make a deep roll. She yanks her head back in. There's something moving out there. So someone's got a lad out there, and they're pacing the coach. The guy with the briefcase hunkers down and grips it like a security blanket, and the coach sways and picks up even more speed. And then,
Just watching the video that goes with this. That's a beautiful animal.
isn't it though? It's gorgeous. I'm going to be bookmarking that one for audio use, I have to
Yeah.
say, because it's a bit good. And then there is a crack. And if the howling's still going, you can stop it.
The howling has stopped, except that I just accidentally hit replay. But I've stopped it again.
Everything goes black. The world spins round you. And everything goes dark.
The end. Oh, that's a great story.
It was a great
So,
session, thank you. What are we
I
playing
would
next
like-
time?
Yeah. Mark, could James please...
It's clear that I'm a protagonist now because I've died in the prologue.
Could you please make me a vigor check?
Which is
3d6.
and then it's the highest one, right?
It is.
Yeah.
What, someone else started?
This isn't
Yeah, no,
paranoia.
To To be fair, though, Knight's dying in the prologue as well, so...
Yep, I rolled
Knight's got
4 as my
form for that.
highest.
Yeah. You rolled a 4?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, dearie me.
I'm not very vigorous.
Did he actually just say that? Of all the sentences to say there. No,
I could say
You're the
worse if I
Harrowed.
tried.
you're the Harrowed Knight. He's just up shit creek. So,
Sometimes, guys, we can have background ambient noise. It's just that the other players can't hear it.
yeah, okay, that's cool. So, let's see what happens. You are taking... Sorry.
All the damage.
Yeah, because I do that to a new character.
He has
You've
all the
broken
damage
your
now,
leg.
sir.
What a shame.
Yeah, would
You're gonna
I?
have to spend the rest of the game in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I love any game that has a chapter called Bleeding and Squealing.
Yep.
Right, so this is effectively going to be a strength check by the ground.
Planet Earth does a strength check.
I don't know that
Yep.
Planet Earth has that good a strength, to be honest. Pretty awesome vigor.
Maybe quite a bit of spirit.
Oh dear.
Yeah, because they both qualify as scary, definitely, Ray.
Yeah. Oh dear. I apologise that this is going a bit clunky.
No, me is definitely more scary because her laughing could be right before she gives you bonus stuff.
Yeah.
So there's always a
So-
tiny % chance.
Oh, and since you're there, actually, by the way, I would just like to say thank you, Mazza, because technically, this is your rulebook that I'm
No,
using.
that's my rule book.
No, yours is the first edition rulebook.
Oh, okay.
This is Mazza's second edition rulebook.
Fair enough. You had to tell him, didn't you? Dear oh Lord. Okay. and
This
then
near
this-
identical looking book is yours.
Yes, okay, fair enough. Okay, so your toughness. Sorry. It's- I'm just checking on the size. Yeah, so you are size 6 because you
Yes,
didn't
6
take
is
it
standard
differently.
unless you have something that changes it.
So you're
Or you're
taking
not
a
human.
wound. I've just rolled a total of 9. So you're taking a wound, and you're taking that wound to...
Just got a scratch.
What kinda? You are taking it to the left... No, you're not. You're taking it to your right arm.
Hmm.
So, wounds...
I need somewhere to keep track of it.
Yeah, you do. You've taken a light wound to your right arm. The pain and suffering that are the result of wounds subtract from a character's die rolls. The exact penalties for each level of wound are shown on the table to the right, which you can't see, but I can, so snigger.
What arm is it again?
Right. Wound penalties are never subtracted from effect totals such as damage or hex effects, but they do apply to everything else. The lone exception to this is that wound modifiers are subtracted from strength-based damage rolls. Basically, anything you do, you're packing a -1.
I can't do science like this. This is terrible science.
Yeah, you've got a badly bruised right shoulder.
We can't hold with screwdrivers.
But you only realise this when you try to do the whole mental pat down. You are in complete darkness. And you're doing
noise finally
yes,
disappears
yeah.
from your ears.
You're doing that post-accident thing where your first thing you do is the mental inventory of arms, legs, and head, and just check everything is reporting in for duty. Then you work on whether or not you can move it, and whether or not it hurts.
You've really exaggerated me.
Yes. I'm willing to bet, Knight, you've done it more recently than me. But, yeah, I distinctly remember doing it when I came off my moped.
Given that power up there would actually be wake up,
Yeah.
if you just slightly twist the pronunciation, when you actually get there is waste.
Yes.
Apologies to anyone on VOD, because I did just experiment with putting the chat on screen, and there's really nowhere I can put it where it's acceptably readable.
Fair enough. I thought I would have left
Actually,
you
for the
enough
moment, I
spare
suppose I
space.
could put it in front of the picture of Black Rock Creek, because we don't
Yeah.
have a battle mat or anything.
Yeah. In future sessions where a battle mat or more detailed pictures are appropriate, then I'm going to use that just as a backdrop and put those pictures over the top. But because this session is a bit of a speed up, I didn't have time to go looking for mats, and it's not really appropriate anyway. So I just thought I'd give you something vaguely interesting to look at.
There we go. We've got chat up now, but
Yeah.
it can always
Okay.
be turned off when we want to look at a mat behind it, or if you give us a
Yeah.
different picture, say that you want
Yeah.
us to look
As
at.
I said, at the moment it's just largely to give me something to look at and play with, and let me use the decks and things like that. Future sessions I will be using rather more of Roll20. So, yeah, you wake up, or you never actually lost consciousness, but things got very confused. And
You reorientate. Sorry,
realise-
reorient. We're in America.
Variants.
you reorient yourself,
Yes, we make ourselves Asian.
realizing that,
I don't mind that.
Technically, make
Yeah.
ourselves Asian again if we reorient.
yes, okay, realizing that something soft and squashy is lying directly on top of you.
Well, thank
Oh, has
Missy
it
for
done the anime?
breaking your fall.
Sorry, who's breaking whose fall? Lying on top of him?
Oh, lying on top of him, rather. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Your initial excitement and possible shame over this disperses when the gentleman grunts and rolls over off your torso.
That's
My
even more
protagonist's
shameful. It's
soul has been
illegal.
crushed.
Sorry, Mark?
My protagonist's soul has been crushed, but I didn't get to do the girl falls on top of me trope.
No, you didn't. This is what happens when you have a female GM who doesn't take that shit. You hear a feminine "ah" from the car corner of the stagecoach, which is on its side, judging by what you can feel behind you. The bench that you were sitting on is now vertical.
This isn't entirely the right sound, but I suppose I can kind of do the coach falling over.
Yeah, that works. It rolls down the cliff and inexplicably explodes. So, it's pitch black. In the distance, you can hear wolf howls. Well, you think they're wolf howls. They're howls of something. It's probably even animal. And around you,
Canine.
you can hear Hofstedler and Missy pulling themselves to a seated position, and you can hear nothing but each other's breath.
Damn it, didn't put the breathing sound effect in.
Very different. So,
Suddenly Darth Vader.
what is James doing? She
Hmm,
says,
silence.
starting a
That
timer.
would be the one who breaks the silence. Awkward.
Yes. Awkward. By the way, Rico is currently riding. He's on the trail.
What I figured.
Yeah, the expectation is that if he keeps going, he might make Black Dust Creek before
Wait, if
dawn.
we're on site,
Does he
that mean
know
the coach
that
is
he's
on
heading
the
to Black
floor?
Dust Creek? Presumably he's aware of what's in this direction. He's not
He
just
does.
following. Right.
No, he is. He knows where he's headed next. He's got. He has a clue, capital C, and is due to meet a journalist,
Is it blue?
A muckraker.
a muckraker, hanging out at Black Dust Creek.
Is he a northern muckraker?
Quite possibly.
Not to be trusted then, okay.
But he may have some information that could be to your disadvantage.
So I had to go, didn't I?
So you did have to go. Absolutely. But yeah, basically you're cantering along.
One Hitchhiker's reference. Can you counter now?
Yes. So, Mark, after a moment or so where you all establish that although you're bashed, battered and bruised, you're still alive and essentially in one piece.
No dislocations.
And then now above you, the stagecoach door is yanked open. Fishy, would you do me a favour since you're not playing at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
Could you please roll me
Wait, you're leaving the bad guys' rolls in his hand? Oh, okay, we might survive.
You guys are
this.
safe. You're utterly safe.
Could you please roll me a 3d8 smarts check?
That's coming out at 6.
Okie dokie. There is a crack and a flash briefly illuminating the inside of the coach. And there is swearing from what you recognise as Carl. Your night vision, which was starting to come together, is now
Goes away
completely
again.
destroyed. And you hear the Easterner, Hofstadler, swearing under his breath. And then says, "Shouldn't scare a man like that." And Carl, from the sound of it, leans in through the door again. "Man, I'm just trying to help you." "But I wasn't to know that. Who the hell did you think it would be?" There is some light blustering, but Hofstadler falls silent.
I haven't got a button for light blustering on my soundboard, sorry.
It's along the lines of he's basically muttling off into the corner.
Fasm.
Okay, yeah. Your folks, you better get out of there. We're going to have to right the coach, and I can't do that with you in it.
I
So,
think I
yes.
understood that sentence.
You think you understood it?
Yeah.
Well, I bloody hope so. I was speaking what is broadly known as English.
If slightly inaccurately known as English.
It's English, I didn't specify origin. So, what are you doing?
Begrudgingly standing up and getting out of a lopsided coach, apparently.
So, what a gent.
Yeah.
Yes, he's not really representing the finest that Britain has to offer, is he?
He isn't, is he? Oh, I worry about him most of the time. So, you're climbing out first? Are you perhaps helping anyone else out of the carriage?
Well, I suppose as a gentleman, I have to offer a hand to the lady. Even
Okay.
if it's questionable that.
How?
You know,
How?
I suppose
how
as a
would-
gentleman I must offer the assistance to the lady if there's anybody looking.
Okay. So,
Appearances are important.
Are you doing it from inside or outside the carriage?
Outside.
So climbing up onto the side of the stagecoach and then helping
Yeah.
around from there. Okay. Right, I would like you to make me a strength check, please.
Oh, I actually have to roll for this.
You do.
So this is where I sort of trip and fall on top of her, is it?
No,
Oh,
this
she
isn't
pulls
one
me
of
back
those
into the
games.
carriage.
It's not one of those games either.
Well, this is terrible. Some of these games. Strength, okay. Strength is 3d6.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get you into the habit of rolling.
Oh, 5.
5, huh?
I don't know if that's good.
Well, the higher
No,
the better,
D12.
to be fair. Yeah.
Well, I know a 5 is good for a d6, but I don't know if that's a good roll because in comparison I could be rolling d12s.
Yes. For a d6, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's not good. So you are looking at. Yeah, 5 will do it. Okay. It's not terribly onerous, but it's a matter of applying your strength in the correct direction.
It was my bad arm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I haven't specified if it's left or right-handed.
I'm going with you being right-handed because you didn't specify and your right hand's been
Yeah.
injured.
Okay.
You don't get to pull that one.
I am right-handed,
Bucko.
so
Okay. Oh,
if
hello.
I'd known about the wound system, I would have specified earlier.
Well, you do now.
I probably would
So,
have stuck with right-handed anyway.
Could be worse. You could have been attacking somebody and had them grab you and pull you into the path of your friend's Falcata.
sorry.
May possibly have happened to an orc last time I ran Simple Fantasy for Drat.
It seemed like a plan at the time. It was a
It
plan.
was a good plan. It worked.
It worked, yes. Yes, Falcata went straight into his head. I was a bit worried. They were tougher than me.
No,
Right,
they
so
weren't.
yes, you just made a fair difficulty check. My fair difficulty. So yes, you can maneuver her and her skirts up and out of the door. Once you give her the hand up to the side, she actually proves quite adept at pulling herself up. Swings her legs over quite handily and hops down.
It's clearly not a lady.
Is Lara Croft not a lady? Don't judge.
No. Just because she's called Lady Croft. No, I've seen those games. I've seen those films. Haven't seen the new one yet, obviously.
No, not
She's
yet.
not a lady. The new one might be, actually.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it yet.
decided. No, it's basically the game. The most one of the more recent games.
So I gather.
Yeah. They've done a good job of making it look like it anyway. So,
Apparently, though, the puzzles in it are all a little bit... You could probably just get your kindergarten class to do them.
So, with a bit more swearing, Hofstedler manages to climb out on his own. And you are standing under the light of a couple of stars, no moon. You can see dimly the outline of the stagecoach. And someone moving over by the horses. A figure walks over to join you. Well, things a little more serious than I'd hoped. The thing's thrown the wheel. Can't tell if it's a broken axle. But I'm assuming you guys don't want to be staying out here all night, so I can go for help. I'm willing to take one of these horses, cut her free, head off up to the creek. A few hours down the track. Wouldn't be long.
Does tinkering work on coaches?
What are these horses?
Sorry? Did you just...
Just playing with the horse sound effects, that's all.
It's ridiculous. There's a brief moment of clinking and clanking, and then there is a chink, chink, woof.
He's got a lightsaber?
If you think a lightsaber sounds like that, you've got issues.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure about it apparently being a lightsaber. You have to start with a flint and steel, but otherwise...
Great, now I have an image of a steampunk lightsaber.
It's a ghost rock-powered lightsaber, so that would work.
Right, okay. I'll add it to my list.
I've always liked vibroblades. I think they're quite fun. Right, yeah, he basically lights a lantern. Moves it around and shows you guys wherein a wheel that presumably should be attached to the axle is now leaning up against the underside of the coach.
Is the axle itself broken? Because reattaching the wheel because I'm tinkering and scrounging.
Okay, make me an engineering check, please.
Ooh, that's a fancy one. I'm going to have to read my entire character sheet to find where engineering is.
Okay, Lady Mazza. Nice, you stopped by.
Is that under knowledge?
It is.
I have 5. What does the 5 in engineering do?
Okay, your knowledge type is D12.
Yes.
So you roll the 5 for the skill and D12.
So basically, yeah, you're rolling 5 d12s and picking the highest one. By the way, dice do explode in this game, as I recall.
They do.
So anytime, if any of them rolls a 12, you get to re-roll and add it to the original roll.
You do. Conversely, however, if the majority of your dice come up with a 1...
Then, trouble. Then I get to trigger the sad trombone again.
Is that in addition to the 3d12 that I normally get? Or...
No.
No, that's instead.
That's instead. Don't get to roll a D12.
11. That's my highest.
Okay. In the poor light, you examine the axle. It is not broken through, but it's clearly been twisted. So it's going to need repairs before it can cope with the load bearing, or that it will need in order to be usable again. So
I can't fix it.
not with your bare hands, certainly, and not in the dark.
Yes. But my time of heroism's over.
So I'll tell you what, you folks, you stay by the coach. I'll leave you the lantern, and I'll take this here horse, and I'll go for help, and I'll be back for you. Okay? I'd leave you my shotgun, but I think I might need it. Potentially. Back as soon as I can, okay?
Suppose so.
Missy makes an unhappy noise. And Hofstadler says, shouldn't be abandoning us in our time of need. Well, it's that or we all spend a long, cold night here. He blusters a little more. Are you doing anything?
So percentage chance he's been hired to abandon us.
Okay. So he walks over, pulls a belt knife, and cuts free one of the horses. The other is already standing loose next to the broken traces it was hooked up with, and is limping visibly. So he cuts the uninjured one free, vaults onto its back, and rides off down the trail, leaving you alone. He does bluster a lot. Life or death is actually down to player action.
Does he wield a
in this,
blunderbuss?
so he has a shotgun. He doesn't have a blunderbuss, he has a shotgun. And as the hoofbeats vanish into the distance, if Fishy would trigger me that wolfhound again.
I can certainly do you something along the lines of wolf howls. Hopefully. I mean, the wolves have been howling quietly in the background all the way through this.
Okay, fair enough.
But no, I think to get loud wolf howls, I'm going to have to go back to the video.
Yeah. Here they are. All around you.
Actually, I haven't checked whether...
Well, we're screwed.
You hear howls. And they vanish off ahead up the track.
Oh. So they
Shortly thereafter, you hear a double crack of a shotgun. And then you hear the sound of a horse scream.
Well, it had a happy ending.
And then you hear
And they all live
howls
happily ever after.
gradually approaching, gaining in volume. What are you going to do?
Panic.
Okay,
I can't think of anything.
so now I think is the time for the use of the skirt dice.
Yep, Knight's got the right idea there. What are you going to do? Change underwear.
Now,
Maybe I can talk my way out of this.
would you like to make me a guts check?
Guts, which is for me.
He'd like to make that check, but he ain't got the guts for it.
What does guts come under?
Guts comes under spirit,
That.
and it's a skill
I do not.
you
have
don't
this.
have.
Well, I've locked myself in, a workshop. I've not been expecting to have to fight canine
Make me
creatures.
A 1d8 roll -4. And hope for an explosion.
I rolled a 7.
He's a mad scientist. He always hopes for an explosion.
Oh dearie me.
Okay.
Oh dearie, dearie, dearie me. Right.
Is it too late to change my underwear?
Uh,
There will be some padded ones.
Failing a guts check is a bad thing.
Bad thing.
Air quotations.
Official management term.
So I do get to roll a d6 for this one. Okay. Oh dear. Oh, I've got such a big table for this.
So, monsters versus aliens. I just keep change my thing.
Okie dokie. You stare in horror ahead of you, feeling sick to your stomach. For the next minute or so, if I call for any checks, they're going to be made at -2 to the die roll. Basically, at the moment, you're attempting to stop your sheer nerves projecting what you last ate at the last rest stop all over your shoes. Missy squeals, looks around. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Knight. Indeed.
-6.
So at the moment, he's at -6 if he has to make an unskilled check.
That's harsh.
Is
Funny, but harsh.
My
Harsh,
fault.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Because the
Lazarus.
ideal is
No
he needs
way.
to make skill
Shan't.
checks and then he'll be
Do
fine.
you realise how stupid you sound?
Missy grabs your arm. Why don't we standing here for?
Wait, the reason.
We should get the hell out of here.
Can't put where.
Not here? The noises start coming down both towards you from where Carl rode off, and you can also hear now picking up pace from where you've come from.
So we're being flanked.
Sounds it.
Well,
Sounds like.
The wolves have read Sun Tzu's Art of War.
Yeah, if he has a D6, he's stuffed.
Although, if they have read Sun Tzu's Art of War, then there's probably only one slightly sickly wolf out there.
What,
I
ventriloquism?
only have one D6.
There goes my
That's-
camera again. What's the
Yeah.
deal with my camera? Why does it keep
Don't know.
vanishing?
I think it's possibly the whole sepia thing is taking it down too dark.
No, wait, I have bigger.
It may well be
as well.
vanishing you. Okay,
No, it's literally, it's just going black.
yeah, I know.
Periodically. It's weird.
Yeah. So, you can't go forwards. You can't go backwards. It's a fairly obvious decision to be
Yes, we
made.
Go up
Okay, you can't fly
yet.
yet.
Although that is in the rule book.
That is in the rule book, yes.
What about down? Is that an option? Do I have
No, you are not a mole.
And
If you've got a big enough caliber Gatling gun, you might be able to go down.
Yeah. Left or right?
what about into the stagecoach? Wait, these things are. They'll probably rip through that really, won't they?
Something brought down the horse and made it scream. These things are
Out of-
basically made of fairly thin wood
I know I'm not
and
there.
cloth.
When in doubt,
But
go there.
as an allegedly intelligent individual and a man of science, would it not be worth possibly looking at the horse to get an idea of what kind of injuries it suffered?
I'm not a biologist.
Given that the horse is several hundred meters away past where the sounds of howling is
Wait,
coming
what
from,
about the
Yeah, I suppose he did
injured
get
one?
quite a long way, didn't he?
there's two horses, yeah.
Okay.
There's one that's none too happy here,
Yeah.
but is free and is sort of prancing around. And there's one who unfortunately is not existent anymore.
Why am I tempted?
So, make a decision. You've got Missy pulling at your arm. You've got Hofstedler desperately trying to reach into the stagecoach.
Is that briefcase more important than his life? Well, that's an interesting development.
And make a decision. Flip a coin, left or right. Stay or
When
stay
down,
or
go
run.
left. When that doesn't work, try your other left. I'll surely be right.
Okay. So left it is.
I have search skill. Can I search for the easiest roundabout path?
Searching takes a degree of time. How much time are you willing to commit to this event?
Okay, no, I'll just run to the left.
Okay. So, yeah, I know that's weird.
Tally ho!
Hmm.
It seems to me you go blurred and then it all goes black and then resorts itself out.
Yeah, I think it may be while it's
Selective blurred.
trying to find me.
Calibrate.
Okay. So, Missy is hanging onto your arm.
Oh, no.
Smarts check, please.
Smart?
Yeah.
Wow, something good for a change.
At -2, bear in mind.
Oh, it's not a skill check.
hmm
40. The highest one was a 9, so that's a 7.
Okay, that's
Oh no, wait, I
fine.
rolled a 10 there.
Okay. It's on
Okay.
D10s.
Yes.
In that
That'll
case,
explode
roll
then.
again and add it.
So I roll, is that just a single one?
Yep.
Just roll a
Yeah.
single d10 and add it to that 10, yeah.
hmm
Another 10.
And again.
2.
Okay.
So 22 minus 2.
22, right. before you go running off into the dark, you didn't need to roll that, so well done for blowing probably your best roll of the evening. On remembering to pick up the lantern.
Right, my first thing on my to-do list is to make miners' helmets.
I just realised that
Carry
when
around
the
lantern.
coachman and the horse went down, I didn't do this. Which I should have
That
done.
works.
Apologies.
No, it's cool. So, you and Missy, and behind you can hear the lumbering breath of Hofstede, who, let's face it, doesn't probably get much in the way of aerobic exercise,
Well,
judging by the
you
build
want the
and
same?
complexion. Well, yeah, you
I've got 3d6 for the snowbound vigor. I'm gonna fall over first.
That's
Yeah.
average. D6 is actually average.
It is, yeah. He has the big size issue, though.
Nah,
I'm seeing I thought he was muscly, but he's just fat.
it's just big.
He's a relatively wealthy-looking businessman in a matching suit.
Oh, he's one of
And
those
big up.
guys. I hate
As I said,
those
something
guys.
soft and squashy landed on you, and it wasn't Missy.
Well, surely I'd be suffering from like crushing damage.
Not necessarily that big.
No, I have a hatred for businessmen at the moment.
Okay.
There's this really, really, really hateful one in this game I'm playing at the moment who's using this young girl as a human experimental subject. And
Right. Okay. Well, sticking with
Yeah,
this
yeah.
game.
Sticking with the human experimental subjects in this game, which is to
Yes.
say you.
So I would like you to make me a scrutinize roll
Oh, great.
to avoid falling flat on
So
your
that's
face.
going to be a
So
smarts
this is
at
negative
-6.
right?
It is, yes. But after this, you will be okay.
Then the odds is 3.
That's a total of 3.
Rolled a 9.
Okay. 3 is baseline what you need. It would have been harder had you not remembered to take the lantern. So well done there. Sprinting along up the rocky incline ahead of you. And your feet slip and slide on the gravel. Missy squeals because she's doing the same thing as you in heels,
But not backwards.
but not backwards. And then ahead of you, silhouetted against the darkened sky, visible only because it clips out certain stars, you see the outline of a building. Buildings mean walls. Buildings mean people.
This is
Buildings mean doors that can probably be shut.
On a good day, buildings mean safety.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, if I chose to run right, we'd be sprinting through open field.
You will never know. So, I take it you're headed for the building.
Yes, logic dictates that we head towards the shelter.
Okay.
Even if they shoot us upon entry.
Yep.
The hills have eyes on the cabin in the woods, yeah.
Yes. Right. Shifting you over to the other picture. Give you guys something else to look at.
Oh, not nice.
You can indeed go sprinting over, and there is a door. And the door is ajar.
I love the sign. I take it
Yeah.
that is accurate.
Yeah.
That's accurate. That's a genuine sign. Yeah.
Brilliant. They weren't subtle, were they?
They weren't, no. That's an actual honest to God help wanted sign. I went harvesting old photos. Sign's scary.
Yeah.
Truth in advertising.
Do I fit? No, I'm probably a bit older than me.
Yeah. Okay, so you headed inside as noises getting larger and more
Wait,
and
yeah, I'm going
more
to say
close.
pardon me as I barge through the door, because I'm a gentleman.
So you're going to barge through. You're going to knock. You're just going to open it and come in.
How far away are our pursuers?
How do you know? How experienced
on
are you in the sounds travelling across a desert landscape at night?
Okay. In my uneducated, random guess of opinion, how
Well,
far
if you want to make me,
are they quite a way away? You know, behind us, or oh god, we're going to die.
I tell you what. Why don't you make me a survival check, and we'll find out. Yeah, night it is. They wanted like kids.
Yeah.
So, rolling.
What does survival come under?
Smarts.
Smarts.
Mhm. I promise I'm not deliberately picking on every single skill he doesn't have. It's just shit happens.
Smarts is 40.
It's a D10. You don't have the skill.
I rolled a 10. So roll again.
Okay. So, roll again.
Okay, so
and add.
14.
So 10. Because it's -4.
Yeah.
So, that's not bad at all. You would judge from the sounds that they're probably quite close. And from the way in which the Doppler effect is occurring, you're guessing that the distance is shortening quite rapidly.
In that case, I shall just open the door straight away without
Okay.
particularly asking.
Okay, so you can all...
Well, apologising profusely.
Okay.
Gentlemen, so pardon me.
You can pile into the pitch black building. And I'm guessing as soon as Hofstedler comes in, slam the door behind you.
I've adjusted the ambient noise accordingly.
Is there a lock?
No.
But I refuse to turn off the nervous heartbeat and blood pumping fast sounds until he recovers from being scared.
Okay.
I'll listen to the stream now.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
know how clearly it's coming over the stream. It shouldn't be too loud, I hope.
Right. We will pause there for a moment while I buzz off for a swift comfort break. Sorry. And then I will return to a fishy.
This seems like an excellent opportunity if anybody is in chat who wants to ask any questions about Deadlands, for them to do so. So that I can fail to answer because it's not my game. Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you, Nightboats. It's a shame I wasn't able to get voice meter set up properly working so that I can route these through to the other players, but never mind. Actually, what I
think I
can
worked
do...
out where I got my character name from now. This set of cards is called James English.
I'm just going to temporarily remove... Where is the... Ah, okay, I need to rename that. There we go. Just thought I would remove a few graphical elements for a moment there and show the lovely Deadlands artwork in the background there on the stream. Then we best put things back since it includes, you know, picky, unimportant things like the Games Master. Or Marshall, as she would be known in this game.
What actually is a marshal?
A marshal. The marshal in the West was, in fact, the local law enforcement. In films, you usually inaccurately get sheriffs. But there wouldn't actually be a sheriff. A sheriff is a higher-ranking individual who would be responsible for a whole area. The marshal would be responsible for the town, if I'm remembering correctly. Which I may not be. But I think I am.
The only American civil war is the State Grand Order, which isn't an American civil war at all. It's Thomas Edison versus the Celts.
I can recommend a film called Undead or Alive, which is subtitled A Zombie, and is indeed a zombie cowboy movie with a strong sense of humour. I actually put that on when I got back in from work today to prep myself for this game. Because Deadlands. Also, I must see whether I can find... whether I can find why my camera keeps cutting out like that. It's got to be Tridef doing it. It's not VC, I don't think. It must be Tridef.
Yeah, if it was VC, any of us would be suffering the same thing. Right.
Yeah. I would like to find, I don't know whether maybe it exists under a different name that I'd have to look up. Yeah, a US Marshal is a different thing indeed. Yeah. Town Marshal is the one I was thinking of. The US Marshal is a very different thing. It was a film called possibly The Killing Box. Which...
Adrian Pasdar.
Yeah. Timing-wise, was about the same time that Deadlands came out, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's one I really want to get hold of.
And that was an undead, wasn't a zombie cowboy movie, but it was an undead movie set during the American Civil War, which was a really good film, but I don't know if it's available anywhere at all. The last few times we've looked for it, we haven't found it, but I wonder whether it might exist under a different name that we don't know to be looking for, so maybe a search for alternative names.
Yeah, I think it's something like the Grey Brigade. Because I had actually bought it digitally at one point, and then the company hosting it went under.
Yeah, before I got to watch it.
Yeah.
It's rather annoying.
Yes, you want to try it from my point of view. They never gave me my money back.
Ghost Brigade, Nightlight seems
that
to
was
think.
it. Sounds about right.
Yeah, must look that film up, because it was a really good one, I recall.
So, yes, had that on VHS.
Okay, so...
Okay.
Now I'm not currently being all scaredy cats, so I can turn off those.
The scared music.
I'm not really in a wagon train, but it's the closest I've got, so my horse might sound a bit like a wagon.
Okay. So this is a very different situation. You two are traversing a trail at night. The sun has dipped below the horizon. The stars
so let me just
out.
turn the night birds from the farmlands set back on.
There's no moon tonight, but you're an experienced enough outdoorsman that you allow your eyes to adjust.
Experienced enough outdoorsman. Check stats to see whether this is true. What is this earth thing you call survival?
I believe you have survival. You had survival. Did you rejig it?
No, I don't think I could afford survival. I've got tracking, though, which implies a certain amount of outdoor knowledge.
Yeah, I'll go with that then. And you're a veteran of the Old West, aren't you?
And I am a veteran of the Old West. I'm also a grim servant of death.
Yes. This really doesn't bode well for poor old
Bodes very ill for everyone, really. Yeah, survival is under smarts, and I don't have it.
Okay. So, you are riding.
Which is another skill I don't have. Oh no, I do. I have horse riding. I'm good at horse riding.
You don't have the option not to have horse riding. Yeah. I think your Texas Ranger, they actually...
Maybe I should actually swap a couple of points into survival. What do you think? Since I haven't done anything with the character yet.
I'm fine with that.
I could take a point off each of horse riding and tracking, which would give me 2 horse riding, 3 tracking, and 2 points left for survival.
That's not a bad idea.
which they're not crap skills that they're going down to. They're just not quite as good, and I then have some survival, not necessarily of the right terrain.
Yeah, desert's desert.
Because
Let's face it. This is the
I'll just put
idealized
some question marks in at the moment because I'm not sure
This is the
what
idealized
terrain he should know how to
sort of
survive in.
Saturday morning.
Both Texas,
Western.
it probably is desert survival,
Yeah.
actually, isn't it?
Yeah. We're talking sort of, Champion the Wonder Horse might come over the ridge any minute. That's the sort of thing. The Lone Ranger riding past the same rock 4 times.
That's the thing.
I think everybody has seen those
The
shows
ideal
at some
nervous tick for a character like this is that he keeps looking at rocks suspiciously, trying to figure out whether he's ridden past them already.
I always just assumed that Champion the Wonder Horse had really good hearing.
I always thought Champion the Wonder Horse had a really bad sense of direction, and that's why he kept riding past the same rock.
Okay. So, I would like you to make me a scrutinize roll.
Scrutinize.
I
Now,
hear my panicked voice in the distance.
That'd be a listen check. Oh no, it is scrutinize. Take it back.
hang on, are you seriously telling me I don't have scrutinize?
Really?
Might need to shuffle a couple of points around again. Because he should have bloody scrutinize.
How have you managed to
Oh no,
not-
there it is. I was just looking in the wrong place.
Okay.
I lost where my cognition stat was. Yeah,
Oh,
I can
okay.
definitely scrutinize. I got 3d10
Yeah.
scrutinized.
Okay. Tell me what your scrutinize total is.
7.
Okay. No, fortunately, Knight, you didn't. No, the dead guy is not the only one with scrutinize. Right. Ahead of you. Clouds part, something catches your eye. Ahead of you on the path, there's a lighter patch. Maybe 10, 15 feet ahead of your horse.
Ease up there, Domino. Let's go take us a little gander. I shall approach said light patch.
Yes, easy, Roach.
Nope, I deliberately didn't call him Roach.
Yep.
Partly because you did say don't get too attached to any horse. So
Yeah. Well, to be fair, there were any number of roaches.
that's true, yeah. All
Yeah.
his horses are called Roach no matter what, aren't they?
Yes, Roach started as a mare in Witcher 3. He's currently a stallion.
Well, that's his life choice, and we shouldn't criticise him for it.
Knew that was going. So,
See, my horse doesn't like it when you criticise his life choices. He gets to think you're laughing at him.
his name's Susan and he wants you to respect his life choices. Oh, I miss 11. Okay, yeah, ahead of you. Basically, the track it's not a metalled road or anything like that. This is more for Robinson's explanation than anything
Oh, I
else.
probably should have rolled something higher. I have eagle eyes.
Oh, yeah, that
But
would do it.
I got the I saw it anyway, so...
Yeah, sounds cool. And what you can see is the track itself is beaten down earth. It's been used a fair old amount. It's slightly rutted, but there's not a lot of rain in this area, so it's not had time to be muddy and then rutted. It's simply worn down. The trail itself may be 10-15 feet across. Vehicles of varying sizes have obviously come back and forth. Which makes sense from what you've heard. Black Dust is a boomtown.
Yeah,
And
it's a boom town.
they got to get the Ghost Rock out there somehow.
This is true.
So there's a good chance that cargo wagons have come back this way. And of course supplies going in the other direction.
So I should be on a fairly easy to follow path to the town then.
You are, yeah. So, ahead of you, what's attracted your attention is a light patch stretching from maybe the midpoint of the road to the left-hand side and just over a metre
Okay, well, I will ride up and investigate. Keeping a wary, scrutinizing Texas Ranger's eye out for anything bad. Probably riding up with my left hand, since I am two-fisted and carry two pistols, with my left hand just resting lightly on that pistol. So I'm ready to go if anything happens. But I'm also still in full control of the horse because I've got my right hand on the reins.
Are you staying on the horse when you get there?
That depends on what I see as I approach, really. I mean, I'm approaching on horseback, certainly.
Okay.
And I'm anticipating stopping when I get there.
The earth around you, including the path, is reasonably dark. It's obviously sandstone of some description. However, this point on the path is both smooth, flat, and several shades lighter. It's a regular oblong. And it's significantly different to anything else you have seen on this section of the track.
Okay, what sort of a regular oblong?
As I said,
I mean,
surface.
just a weird bit of. I found a bit of the road that has come to a time warp from a point when it's paved in the future.
You would guess maybe limestone, maybe chalk even. It's white and it's smooth.
It's not a threat, it's just a different piece of terrain.
It is. But it's only here.
I'm going to foolishly assume that it's perfectly normal and carry on.
Your character doesn't get out much, does he? This is totally different to anything else I've seen in the last 2 days. It must be completely normal.
Well, nothing's leapt out and attacked me. It's the ground. I'm more worried about people and things than I am the ground.
If a guy with dodgy knees and the staff invites you to come and stay because the master will be home soon,
I'd just be mighty obliged, because that's very kind of you, sir.
You're not firing warning shots and running.
I don't fire warning shots. My shots ain't warnings.
Okay. Clue number 1, missed completely and ignored.
Is there anything like a survival roll I could make to give me an idea as to any significance of this?
No, you just carry on riding up. You said you're carrying on riding.
Yep.
So you're carrying.
I'm carrying on then.
As you pass,
world-ending conspiracy is going on, but
yeah, that's fine, no problem. As you pass over the limestone, your horse stops, skitters slightly, and sidesteps around it.
you suddenly find it's a picture.
Easy there, Domino. Okay, well, something is spooking Domino, clearly, so I'll take another look around.
Yeah, that's not how you ignored it.
Nothing
that was
weird
going
with
to happen anyway.
There's nothing weird with that patch of strange ground, so I can safely ignore that. Just look around for anything that might be spooking Domino.
Okay. Has this occurred to you that occasionally you can be a contrary fucker?
It's a bit of weird terrain. I'm not a geologist. I don't know.
It's the Weird West.
This is the Weird West, yeah. And I know it's the Weird West, because even though it's all being hushed up, it's being hushed up by me.
Yes. No, he's not Mulder. That's the Pinkertons.
Yes, the Pinkertons, very much so for Mulder.
Yeah. These guys are more the statesmen.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I will,
Okay.
since Domino is spooked, I will look around and see if I can see any reason why. Yeah, whether
Okay.
I can maybe hear some distant wolf howls or
Make me a scrutinize check then.
a scrutinize check.
Yeah.
It's only actually. I'll look up what the eagle eyes does.
Oh, good point.
Because at the moment that's a 6, but I am
Okey-dokey.
eagle-eyed. Eagle eyes. You may add +2 to any cognition rolls made for your character to spot or notice things at a distance. So that's 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 9 on my original roll.
Okay. So, an 8 will quite
I'm now regretting that I did not instead take the next thing on the page, which is fleet-footed. There comes a time when a cowpoke needs to hightail it away from some angry varmint.
Right. Did you say 8? Okay, you made
I
an
got 8.
onerous difficulty then. That's fine. Okay, 2 things attract your attention. You're not sure if they're related. Firstly, you see leading off to the left 2 narrow channels carved in the rocky dust leading up away from the path.
Mm-hmm.
Say certainly no more than 6 inches.
See, now I have a reason to dismount and take a closer look at that. With
Okay.
my tracking skill, perhaps.
With your tracking skill. Okay. Make
But
a tracking
unfortunately, I'm not tracking at a distance, so I don't get the
No.
+2.
roll. I understand the
Weirdly-
horse. Why? I
Weirdly,
got the
my
distance
eagle
wrong.
eyes don't help me when I'm looking at stuff close up. I'm a bit
Basically,
farsighted.
Yeah. This means that whenever reading reports or anything like that, you presumably need reading glasses.
Well, without any +2s, that's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, the 2 tracks overlap each other at one point. They're not wagons or not wheels, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Something has been dragged.
Yeah. And you
In
say
one
they're quite
direction.
narrow.
Yeah, no more than 6 inches, certainly.
So it's not a litter or a body. Or indeed, a sack would be
No.
wider than that.
No, it would be wider and it would produce less of a pronounced channel.
And 2 such things, for good measure.
Yes.
Does one of them look deeper than the other one? Is one of these things heavier, or are they both pretty much of a par?
They look to be equivalent. One does cross the other, but they are of equivalent depth. All that really does is
Okay.
it shows you that they are... Something came this way and then came back. Possibly. Or was dragged twice. 2 things, maybe.
What now?
Can I find multiple instances of the tracks crossing over? So can I check and make sure, for example, not without going too far, that they always cross over the same way? So it's always, say, track A crossing track B, rather than sometimes crossing each other, which would imply 2 things going at the same time.
Okay, make me a tracking roll.
I'm just going to re-roll this here ace that I done got.
Okay.
That's going to give me a 17.
Okay, the path on the left, let's call it track A, is always under. Where they cross, it's always going under track B.
So it does look like maybe it could be the same thing, going there and then coming back, or coming here and then going that way. But it could be the same track. I can't rule out that there are 2 of them. But I could, if they had crossed out of sequence, I could have ruled out that there was only 1.
Yep. So anyone would think that tracking is part of what the Texas Ranger
Anyone
does.
would think this was my job. Yeah.
Yeah, it leads from the edge of the path, at the edge of the track, into the softer ground that hasn't been trodden down, and up over a small rise.
Well now, Domino, there's something mighty strange going on here. Shall we go and take a look? That wasn't really a question, Domino.
Nay.
Can I track from horseback, or is it too dark since you said it was a moonless night and I will have to lead Domino?
It is a moonless night, yes. You're going
I
to
will
have
be-
to track from
I will attempt,
ground.
anyway, if assuming he's willing to go, to lead my horse and follow these tracks away and see if I can see where they're going.
Domino is actually pressing in closely on your shoulder.
Ease up there, boy.
He snickers nervously. Have you got animal handling?
Animal handling? I got horse riding.
Animal wrangling.
I
is
don't
that-
have
yeah.
animal wrangling, no.
Okay. You can make me a horse riding check at -2 then.
I could overawe him. I got that.
No, it's not an easy roach.
Okay, so horse riding at -2. This is not going to go well. No, that's going to be a 1.
Okay. You have no idea why your horse
Yeah,
is being
I
good.
didn't done do no good to that horse at
No.
all.
No. You pat its nose and it looks thoroughly
You
unimpressed.
cantankerous ornery equine, why can't you just do as you're damn told?
And again, pushes right in on your shoulder.
If you throw off my aim when something turns up, I'm not going to be happy with you. If it comes to it,
Do you
I'm willing
want
to
to
walk
hear
to the
from
next
me?
town. No, Lazarus, I don't.
It snickers. And I don't mean it sniggers. Right. Track him, please.
Tracking again? Yet
Yeah.
more tracking.
This is your ground tracking roll.
Tracking, tracking, tracking. Keep them dice a-tracking. Well, I couldn't have rolled more evenly if I had tried.
Yeah?
Yes, the result is going to be 3. Now, if I
Okay.
take off that die, the result is going to be 3. And if I take off that die as well, then the highest result becomes 3.
Okay.
I just lost it completely. I got distracted by the horse, and now I can't find the
Yeah.
bloody thing.
Yep. You plough on your way up the rise.
Gosh darn you,
Obviously-
Domino.
Obviously,
You done
you've
messed
hit
up my track.
a slightly harder patch of ground, possibly.
See,
or Domino
because
knocked
this
you to one
this area
side.
has this more rocky ground around in places. I know this. I established it already. I
Yeah.
done found some.
So, standing on the top of the low rise, Domino at your side, I will take a scrutinize. Unless you're actively looking for something, in which case it will be a search.
Okay, this is scrutinized with my +2.
Yeah.
Then that is 8.
Okay. You stand surveying where the ground falls away slightly. It's not a cliff or anything. It's just that where the path is worn down, it naturally bulges up at the sides. And you've made your way up this rise and are standing there doing that 1,000-yard stare, thinking,
Yep.
well, this is a waste of my... Hang on a minute.
But I'm not
What was
bothered
it?
because I'm brave with nerves of steel. Even though I'm apparently currently a black cat in a coal shed. That's better. I've come back again.
Yes. What catches your attention is a small pile of something dark, maybe 20 feet away. That counts as distance in this light.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
only
that does.
visible by contrast to the lighter ground underneath it.
Okay. Well, no particular clue as to what it is that I've spotted.
Not from
Just-
here. There's
Right.
something that doesn't belong.
I will just lead Domino off in that direction and investigate. then.
Okay. Okay. What you find there... Oh, hello.
Sorry.
Vanish.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out why the smart blur, which I have turned off, is still smart blurring. Because I thought maybe that would be what was
Yeah.
causing me trouble. And indeed, now it's gone away again. So that's weird. But I still don't know whether that's what's causing me trouble because it didn't bloody turn off, did it?
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe that is the problem, actually, because it's just gone black twice in quick succession. I wonder if it's trying to switch off the smart blur, and that's where the issue is here. And thank you for that host, Druttercup.
Yes,
Late in the day.
I was hosting earlier, but I've been in and out of my chat because I'm just looking at the mod.
You weren't hosting earlier, you know, because I've got stream labels up, and I've got Night Bites hosting from 2 hours ago, and then the next thing before that is 4 days ago.
It should have.
So if you hosted earlier, it was before I ran stream labels.
Yeah, it should have been. Oh, bollocks. Just accidentally closed chatting.
Oops.
Oopsie. Yeah. Okay.
Not that that is at all important. What is important is that I am going to move forward and investigate this anomaly.
Yes. Okay.
In case
As
any
you
dinosaurs
head
come to it.
along, as you get closer, you see that it's something almost entirely innocuous. It's a pile of neatly coiled rope.
Now that is a mite strange. I'm going to, as soon as I identify it as what it is, I'm going to stop. And knowing that the damn horse is going to follow me, unless there is something like a bush I can tie him to here.
There's nothing solid enough, no.
I'm going to squat down and, as best I can from here, without going any closer, look at the terrain around where the rope is to see if I can see any, what I can see in the way of tracks before me and Domino get over there and mess it up.
Okay. I will take a tracking check then, please, and your eagle eyes will apply.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. But I will apparently do it in the dark.
Yep.
That's a 9.
Okay, that will do.
Thanks to my eagle eyes. Which basically mean there's a switch on the back of my head, and when you push it in one direction, the eyes look the other way. And when you push it back, the eyes look that way. I also have realistic hair.
When you crawl, do you do that?
No, I don't have that one. I just have the realistic hair and the eagle eyes.
I love my Action Man. I think it was cool. So, you crouch down and you're going for as much contrast as you can get. And you can see that, yes, there is disturbance in the ground. You're looking at a thin layer of dusty, not quite sand, over a firm packed sort of sandstone type deal. And sporadic scrawny plants. Nothing terribly well established.
Yeah.
They look a lot like fibre plants from Imperion.
Oh, in that case, I shall gather some in case I need to make nitrocellulose and mint my own bullets.
Yeah. If you can find any aloe, then you're sorted because you can make medkits.
Because I can make bandages as well then, yes.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So, yes, what you can see is a coil of rope, a disturbance in the vicinity, and also a largish flat area where some plants have been squashed.
The largest flat area where some plants have been squashed. As if there was something here, heavy, relatively recently.
Yes.
Well, now, I'm going to hope that Domino does not crowd me too much, and I will now move forward and look for any more detailed clues that I could not see on first investigation. Paying attention to the area directly around the rope and to the flattened area for any sign of what might have caused this.
Right. The area around the rope has been, on the far side away from the road, pretty chewed up. Casting around, you got a good enough roll earlier that you can now see, you're looking at a couple of boot prints, certainly, that you can identify. But you can also, a few feet away, isolate at least 2 sets of hoof prints. They overlap each other, so it's hard to specify. Yeah. Could be 2, could be 3.
Do I perchance see something that could be wheel tracks leading towards this space?
No.
No, I do not. Okay.
Returning to the area next to the rope, you see the flattened area is roughly rectangular,
Yeah.
maybe 1.5 meters by 2.5 meters.
Hmm. Well, now this is a mite interesting. These boot prints and hoof prints,
Hmm.
do any of them lead away from the area?
The boot prints not, but the hoof prints do.
Well then, come along, Domino. Let's see where this mysterious rider done gone.
Okay.
Still leading Domino so that I can see the tracks. Still also, because he's a bit of a canny bugger, is Rico. Joseph Rico, who, yes, is named after Judge Dredd and his brother. So what he's doing is he is leading the horse with his right hand, because most people are going to see him as being rather almost defenseless. He's not going to be a threat to anyone because he's holding the horse's bridle or whatever with his right hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't pay any attention to the fact that he carries 2 guns underneath that long coat of his, and he's equally good with either hand. So
Okie dokie.
the idea is that people will see him as not being a threat, even though he is just as capable this way round. So he will usually, under these sorts of circumstances, be doing something with his right hand that makes it look like he's not ready to shoot someone.
Right. Would you like to make me another tracking check, please?
See, that's all part of being a grim servant of death. You see, that people underestimate you and you kill them dead. Tracking 9.
Okay. The path of the horses leads at a probably no more than a canter. Certainly, they don't seem to have been in any kind of hurry, judging by the length of the pace. Curves away from the track and then back around to the right, headed back towards it further up the way.
As if they had circled around something that they didn't want to approach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, that makes me interested in where it is that they didn't want to go. But then again, I don't know I'm interested enough to go there at night. Can I see anything? I mean, I know it is a moonless night. Can I see anything at all, even sort of dim shadows, in looking at the area that they appear to have circled around that would indicate why?
It's going to be a search check, but
This is
from
search,
this
is it?
distance, I will. Yeah, you're looking for something.
This is an eagle-eyed search.
Yeah.
That makes a 9 on an eagle-eyed search.
Okay. Nothing initially leaps out at you. However, nothing leaps out at you. However,
But I'm ready if it does.
where the bank extends up, headed back towards the road, your eye initially glances over and then comes back to a suspiciously dark area.
An area of deeper darkness within the dark.
Yeah.
What sort of size is this area of deeper darkness, or can I not tell because I can't really gauge distance at this in these conditions?
From here, a couple of feet, maybe?
Could
Maybe
be
a couple
a
of feet
body.
across?
Is it a flat area of deeper darkness or a raised area of deeper darkness?
It's hard to tell from here. It's either a shadow or it could just be your imagination.
Okay. I'm going to take a wild assumption at this point. And this is Joe is taking a wild assumption at this point.
Okay.
That for the first time since we encountered that strange terrain, Domino might not follow him and get in his way. And I am going to head towards that deeper shadow. See if I can
Okay.
figure out what it is.
Okay. So,
This time I'm less concerned about people thinking that I'm not dangerous. And unless the horse does follow me, in which case I'll grab the reins again. Otherwise, I will be advancing with my right hand, not holding, but resting on my gun, ready to go.
Okay.
This serves two purposes. One, my gun is ready to go.
Yeah.
Two, people think that's where my gun is, and don't necessarily realise there's one on the other side as well. These are established Joseph Rico techniques that I'm establishing now. This is what he's always done since he became a ranger.
Okie dokie. So, as you approach...
This could be some scheme of Mad Mary's.
Could be. What you see is there is a rock, maybe a foot or so high, casting a shadow, which slightly threw your perception out. But in the shadow of that rock is a circular hole leading into the bank. A couple of feet across.
Well, now, I like to think that Mama Rico didn't raise her no idiots, but I think I might be wrong. I'm going to move forward and poke at the hole a bit and see if I can see what it is that I'm dealing with here. It doesn't look natural, does it? It looks like it's been dug.
No.
Whether by people or animals.
Yeah. Once you get there, you realise that there are small bones scattered around the entrance.
That there looks like a nest. Or a lair.
Mm-hmm.
How big a hole are we talking about?
Maybe 2 feet across.
Maybe 2 feet across. I don't really want to be tussling with something that needs a 2 foot across hole for its lair. Mm-hmm. That sounds a mite bigger than I want to be putting on a campfire. So, having established that it does appear to be simply a part of the wildlife of the area, I'm going to go back to Domino and continue following the tracks as they circle round this thing here.
Yeah.
They obviously felt that this hole was dangerous enough they didn't want to go too close to it. So I'm not going to poke it with any sticks, having established what it is.
Okay, the tracks lead back round to the road. What the situation is had you continued, and you're going to need to look at this, had you continued following the road, it would have done that and then carried on north. What they have done is they have gone like this and joined the northern portion of the road.
Okay.
Which is obscured, not actually that far ahead of where you were, but which has obscured from that by a bulge in the natural terrain.
Mm-hmm.
What gets your attention is not the tracks as you head back down to the road.
Okay.
As you slide towards it. What gets your attention is the wreck of a stagecoach on its side.
Well, now, ain't this just the busiest part of town?
Looking at it, despite you having come quite a way round, you're probably no more than 50 feet road-wise from where you initially stopped.
Mm-hmm. So I've come the long way around, which has delayed me reaching this crash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will approach the crash site in case there are people here who need my help.
Okay.
I have an obligation, after all.
Yep.
It's worth 1 point.
Yeah.
It's on my character sheet.
Okay. So, as you approach,
I'm
you can
obligated to use the English language in a poor way.
Okay. You can see, as you approach, a smashed coach lantern on the floor. The wheel of the coach is leaning up against the underside of the stagecoach. Some luggage is scattered both on the roof and on the ground.
I shall stay clear of that. It might be made of sapient pear wood.
And the traces are empty.
Mm-hmm.
No horses. One set's broken. The actual wood has snapped.
Okay. Right. I will actually investigate the luggage, but only to the point of, has any of it been broken open? If, for example, this is the result of a bandit raid, they obviously would have gutted everything. If things are still intact, then it was probably an accident. So he's
Okay.
looking with that in his mind now.
Okay. Scrutinise, please.
That's going to be a 7, assuming that he is not being eagle-eyed, which I don't think he is.
Okay. No, he isn't.
Is
Right.
it scrutinise or search?
Oh, actually, yeah, it's probably search.
Yeah. If this is worse than the 7, I'm going to be annoyed. 7.
Okay.
Or 7 if I use the other die.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
Okay, what you can see is that some luggage obviously is stacked up on top and is strapped with wide leather straps. You're familiar with them.
Yeah. If the luggage is still strapped on the top, that would seem to indicate that this was not a bandit raid.
There's two trunks, quite large.
Uh-huh.
There are a couple of boxes, a couple of cases, and there are scattered on the ground a couple of smaller pieces of leather luggage. However, with that roll, you can see that the strap on the back half, because there would have been two holding it in place, has been unbuckled.
So something's been removed. Possibly.
They don't come undone all by themselves.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next step then, if there's no signs of, if it's not a bandit attack and there's no signs of any people here, and both the horses are missing, is to make a tracking roll, I suppose, to try and figure out where the occupants of said coach went.
Okay. Right, okay, roll me a tracking.
That's going to be a 5, which is not great, but that is a basic level success. Unfortunately, you're doing it in the middle of the night, which might...
Yeah.
Depends
Yeah,
how
it's gonna make your
obvious the
life
tracks
easier.
are. I'm only going to find the
Yeah.
easiest of tracks with that.
Right, next to you,
Didn't get no
Domino
raises.
starts tossing his head and sniffing his on the wind. Looking at the tracks, you can see just about that there is fresh disturbance in two directions.
I should have called Domino Villa. You can always sense danger, even when there isn't any.
Yes. Ahead of you, along the path, along the trail, and to the left.
Now, why would somebody go to the left? I can understand carrying along the trail towards Black Dust Creek. That makes sense. Why would anybody strike out into the desert when there's a perfectly good trail that they know goes this way? Does that make any sense to you, Domino? Why in the name of the Lord am I talking to a horse? I spend too much time in the damn desert. Right. Okay,
And again,
what I'm
I
going
just
to
issue a
do...
general apology for any accents.
Yep,
that may
absolutely.
offend.
It's on screen. It's scrolling up on screen. That apology
right,
has
okay.
been there since early in the stream. I added it.
Okay, carry on. Sorry.
So yeah, what I'm going to do... On this occasion, I actually want Domino to be following me, so hopefully he is.
Okay.
I'm going to follow the tracks on foot for a little while, not very far, just enough to establish... The ones to the left, yeah. Just enough to establish whether they are going in a straight line.
Oh, there we go. That was strange.
Hello.
And if the tracks are going in a straight line, I will then mount up so I can get a little bit more speed and worry less about tracking and more about trying to catch up to whoever they are. Because the tracks look fairly recent, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
The disturbance in
I mean,
both
if nothing else, it
directions
can't have been too long ago or somebody would have found the coach. So logically has to have happened within the last few hours.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Gigas Monkey. Welcome aboard.
Hello, Gigas.
Babe.
Hello. Right, okay, Fishy. The tracks do appear.
And to you, Gigas, in particular, I will apologise for the awful, awful accents going on in this game of Cowboys and Zombies.
Yes. I would like to point out that the tracks are in fact going straight.
They are going straight. In that case,
And then I will take...
shall indeed saddle up or mount up rather, and I'm not going to, not going to be galloping, but the horse walks faster than me. Maybe a light canter, depending on what the terrain is like. I don't want to take too many risks in this darkness, but trying to catch up with the people that I'm now following.
As you mount up and strike off to basically the left of the track,
Yeah.
you hear two things that make you reconsider.
I need to turn the wolves back on, don't I?
One is yes.
Okay, let's go back to my custom moods, and we want the something out there set.
Yeah, huh?
Possibly will turn up the wolves a little bit.
The second is the sound of a gunshot.
Oh, I can do that.
Yep. Just the one.
Just the one. Well, one's all it takes if you do it right. Same goes for shooting.
Yep. So, that's you headed off in that direction.
That is indeed me headed off in that direction.
Uh-huh. So, Mark.
Right, that's perfect timing because I was kind of hoping for a comfort break. So
Okay.
I will let you get back
That's cool.
to Mark in the deserted way station while I go to the loo.
Yeah. Okay, Mark. As you have barred the door behind you, because there's no lock, but there is a bar,
Same
you
principle.
glance around and realise you're standing in a relatively large, almost reception area. To the left is a counter that stretches the width of the room, and behind that is a door.
So it's a post office.
On the wall, on the wall behind the counter are pigeonholes, about yay big, maybe a foot square. And there is indeed a lift up portion to allow access. The howls die down around outside. What you doing?
It's going to turn into a horror movie now, and they're going to start attacking the walls and digging under the floor.
Kirby, Hong Kong Fooey.
Is there an upstairs? Or are we going to have to investigate another room to find some stairs?
There are no stairs in this room. Make me a smarts check.
In that case, it will be just to double check. Was this based on a skill or just general?
No, just a general smarts check, please.
And I rolled a 9.
Okay. The building that you're in is single story. It actually does look a lot like the building on the photo.
That photo. Wrong mouse again. Okay.
Okay. So, what you doing? It is quite extensive, and it certainly is much bigger than you can see from this room.
I suppose the logical course of action is to head to the most interior room.
You're going behind the counter.
Yeah.
Okay.
The traditional way. I'm not going to try and vault the counter.
Okay.
There's nothing dramatic going on here.
Okay. Fair enough. Hofstadler is glued to one of the windows, looking out into the
Excellent.
darkness.
We have a decoy.
I was going to go with sentry, but hey. And Missy comes up behind you close enough that she could grab you if anything occurred.
Why am I the one being followed?
Oh, yes, that's right. We should... It's these guys. We should be having the nervous heartbeat sounds, shouldn't we?
Yes. They're
It's the
now
scared
hiding
people.
in a darkened building. So, who's
Much prefer
keeping
murder
the
mystery over
lantern?
this. I picked it up, so I shall continue holding on to it.
Hofstadler glances up. Where do you think you're going?
Inside, where there's, less... No. Where there's more between us and the things that want to eat us.
But you can't see from in there. How will you know where these things are?
Well, they won't be where we are, hopefully.
Hey, there's no need for you to go wandering off with that lantern.
Okay, so the problem is I want the lantern, not that I want to go in somewhere else.
It doesn't give a shit about you.
I just need to find another lantern.
He is frantically looking outside. It's quiet out there now. I think we could probably make it back to the coach.
Well, you go do that, and I'll go in there.
Not without the light. Jesus.
Okay, so I will look for another light in this room. And to be
Jesus, just
honest-
a little bit heavy for you? Use the light, Jesus.
Ouch.
To be honest, his eyes would adapt better to the dark without the light here, so he could see outside easier. Yeah. Okay. Rationally,
Yeah.
with
Let's hear you make a
Something
persuasion
certain.
check.
I'm just gonna rationally argue with a panic first. That's great. Is persuasion actually
Let's
a thing?
Persuasion is a
see.
skill under Min.
Under me and indeed.
Well, I have awful at that, I think. Yeah.
Are you saying your character has no charisma?
How in the hell
Yes,
did
he has
Remy
two
ever
pieces.
do anything? His stats are
Charisma.
crap.
Force of personality. And the stare.
Yeah.
And for anything else, he shot it. Whatever
Yeah,
it
but
was.
he only had a D10 deafness. He's not as good
Really?
with a... Yeah, he was not as good with a gun as Rico is. My new character is much better with a gun than Remy.
Fair
And he
enough.
has two of them.
Okay. Yeah, Remy fans.
Definitely a grim servant o' death.
Yes.
Remy was-
Weird
yeah.
that Remy.
Remy was
So
a big
I'm
fan
trying
of
to
Fannin.
persuade him
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding.
to be...
And frantically reloading.
Yeah.
Individually.
Joseph has double action revolvers.
What do I do if I rolled a 1 and a 6?
Unfortunately, rounding is a thing, and oh
thought-
dear.
I thought whatever they call it in this was only if it rolls more than.
How do you mean? Because going bust is if the majority of your dice.
Yeah, this is what I thought. I thought that by majority that was more than rather than equal to. I mean, you're the marshal. You play it how you
I
want to
am.
play it, but
So you've basically rolled maximum and minimum, yeah?
Yes.
Well, if you rolled a 6, that explodes.
yeah. This is my point here. You see, is if
Yeah.
the 1 trumps the 6, then the fact that it explodes doesn't matter because no matter how high that is, you're
Yeah.
largely going to ignore it, aren't you?
I'm going to work on good nature, bad luck at this stage.
Go and bust.
What's your total?
So wait, I'm re-rolling 6 on that.
Rerolling and adding.
So I rolled a total of 9.
Total of 9 was that?
Yeah, 9.
Okay. Okay,
I
because
suppose
talking
Suppose
to your
it doesn't
chest is
actually stop you succeeding, does it?
No, it
A
doesn't.
setback of some sort has occurred. You can still succeed,
Yeah.
but something bad will happen as well.
Yeah.
Like you shoot the guy in the head but trip over in the process, or
Yes. As I said, good natured bad luck.
good-natured
Nice
bad
guy
luck.
once you're dead. So, how are you attempting to persuade him that his eyesight will adjust?
Is that not common sense here? Oh. How do you persuade an idiot?
I don't
Well,
know. How do
not
they normally
by
do it with you?
He's not an idiot, he's a fool. There's a difference.
There is a big difference, yeah.
Yes. So, no, I'm going to make you actually tell me at least what you're telling him. You don't get to do everything on the dice in my games, mate. You never
I know,
have.
but I don't know how to explain to someone, like, it's just common sense, isn't it? That when you adjust your eyes to darkness, you can see better in the dark. It's like when you try to look at someone through a window.
Well, yeah, he's looking through one at the moment. Glass is a
Okay.
thing.
I thought the thing is it,
Yes.
but because it's like when you try to look through a window and it's dark on the other side and you can't see in when you put the light on your side.
Okay. So if we're better off in the dark, then that would be the windows causing reflections. Okay, young sir.
Also, they can't tell
that,
what room we're in if the
That
lights are
makes
coming
a
out of
lot of sense. Right. Okay, so see better without the glass in the way.
Oh God. Have I got a breaking? I must have a breaking glass sound somewhere.
Have the sound of breaking glass.
And there goes protection.
He pulls from his pocket a baby little gun.
He has a gun. Well, that's an interesting.
You knew he had a
Knew
gun.
I had it.
You knew he had a gun because he nearly shot at Carl the coachman.
He's got a Derringer.
He
Presumably.
has. He has. It's got a hip pocket gun, basically. And because he's quite a big, chunky guy, just didn't show. So he pulls it out, flips it, and basically punches out the glass.
It's pretty strong for a fat guy.
Yeah, you're not familiar with physics, are you?
Well, I know how weight works.
No, you don't. You don't know how body mechanics works. Clearly. Muscle is not everything. If you put enough oomph behind something, it doesn't matter what the size of your muscles are. Leverage is a thing. And the glass cracks.
So
Cold air
skirting away
blows in.
from the idiot into the other room and closing the door.
Cold air blows in behind you.
I'm gonna
And
slightly up the volume of the wind sounds now that there's no glass in the window.
okay.
Tumbleweed.
Basically, you're talking a couple of panes per. They're not very big panes because it's not that easy to make. But the panes of glass are perhaps a foot across, foot square, and there's 2 per window. There's also shutters on the outside, but they were closed. Sorry, they were open even. Also,
I'm gonna
you
blame
weren't.
this guy. I
actually
bet the
paying.
briefcase is what these things are after. Yeah, it's got to be it. It's his fault. Right, we'll leave him alone.
And
Not sticking with him anymore.
on the inside, through the door, you step into a corridor. To the right, let me just check my description so I describe it the same way both times. Radical concept, I realise. Yep. To the right is a door. Ahead of you is another door, but it stands open, and you can see behind there is probably a storeroom, maybe. Past that, you can see another door. But you are standing in a corridor, so you've got a door to the storeroom ahead of you, you've got a closed door to your right.
Okay, so would the storeroom be on the outer side?
Hard to tell. There's another door beyond it.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to go to the
You don't-
storeroom
you're
and
in
look
the
for another
dark.
lantern.
Okay. Into the storeroom, you can see some, judging by the smell of them, not used for quite a while, piles of sacks. A couple of them half full of something that, without looking, you have no idea what it is. Shelves line the right-hand side, and just to the left of the door, there is a trough leading through a small archway at the bottom of the wall. And in this room, there's a water pump. So if you pump water here, it goes into a bucket at the bottom of the pump, but there's also a trough where runoff will lead outside. You assume outside.
This is probably not the safest room to stay in.
Are you investigating properly? You still have Missy over your shoulder. Occasionally she is making noises.
Okay. So, come back here.
Apparently the
Would you
Daleks
like-
have joined us in this scenario. I
Yeah, I
have no
was just
idea what
thinking
you
that.
just said.
No. Would you like to roll me a search check and a scrutinize check and tell me what you got on each?
How does... Oh, both. Okay.
Yep. That's what they're trying to do now.
If I have the skill, I just don't get a penalty, right? That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, isn't it? An ex-Terminator.
They really do hamper you for not having skill. There's none of this roll on half.
On the other hand, an easy roll only needs 3 or higher on the
Yeah.
dice. So
Yeah.
if you're rolling d10s, you can do things without
Yeah.
skills and perform, basic tasks with no worries.
12 for search,
Mhm.
and I rolled a 4 for the scrutinize.
Okay. The search reveals on the shelves, in amongst general detritus, 2 lanterns of the general purpose. Ones you've got are the coach type. They're designed to give a bit of a beam. These are just more general illumination. Hurricane lamps. And with that roll, you can also find a tin of oil. It's not lamp oil, it's cooking oil. But aside from the fact it would probably make the place smell like a chip shop, it would probably serve the purpose.
In no way, shape or form would this attract the wolves.
There is that. So, the scrutinize check, however, is just enough for you to catch out of the corner of your eye something move.
Corpse.
And Missy screams. What you doing?
How close to the door am I? That I came in?
It's slightly behind you and maybe about 4 feet.
Okay, so just back into the door.
Oh, what a hero. Missy.
Wait, she was behind me, wasn't she? So
She
surely
was, but
I-
you were up against the wall. She's now basically in the middle of the room.
Oh, well.
Missy is screaming her head off, having made a thoroughly shitty scout
I
check.
haven't got proper. I haven't got an oh my god screaming noise. I've only got the Wilhelm scream. I need an oh my god screaming noise.
Oh. You can go for
Oh,
the
hang on.
Wilhelm scream if you like. Oh, right.
I've got psycho screams. That might work.
Okay.
It's not quite right, but it's close enough. I
It's
suppose.
close enough. So, there is a scream. There is a nervous yell from the front room. Who's dead in there?
He's dead. Thanks for your overwhelming faith in your companions.
There ain't no one in here but us corpses.
You hear a thudding from the front room.
Okay, so he's
Or
dead.
possibly.
He's dying.
Something
He's dying. I'm
is coming.
going to die.
Something smacks into the door leading to the storeroom and thuds against the wall. You've got the only lantern. What are you doing? Missy's still screaming.
Putting the lantern out and giggling in a corner.
Seven.
Losing my
You
mind.
might want to respond. She's
Four.
counting.
Well, obviously, I'm going to point the lantern at what she's screaming at and probably throw the oil I picked up at it.
Okay. Right then.
Assuming that it's not a person.
You're not making any assumptions, mate. You took too long to decide to make any assumptions. Oh dear, bless your heart. If I start counting, you start thinking. There is a loud crack by your ear,
This is a great start.
and in the shadows caused by your swinging of the lantern, you hear and see Missy scream as a sudden gout of red explodes from her shoulder.
Oh, I was hoping to be able to save her. At least, you know.
Outside, yeah, you have no idea how the human body works, do you? Honestly. Outside, suddenly, howls ring out.
Would help if I could remember which of these sets have the damn hells.
Thank you, Knight. So, you're partially deafened in your left ear. So you're going to be on -2 to scrutinise checks involving listening until I say otherwise.
Right, so we're already at like -6.
The smell.
So, like, it's
No, you're not
-8 now.
anymore. No, that was ages ago. You're good now. That was a while ago.
It's -4.
You've been bimbling around here for ages. It's all good. Yeah, the searching, the wandering in, it's all going to have taken time. And Missy screams, goes down like a sack of spuds. Something splurts out of her left shoulder. Hofstadler swears and tries not to drop his gun. And the howls have started front and back. And you're the only one with the lamp. Well done for nearly getting Missy killed.
It wasn't part of my plan.
You had a plan?
Yeah,
There was a plan?
there was.
It's not
there
the
was a
best
plan.
laid plan.
It's a pretty vague plan. Mostly involved going away from all windows and outside places and just waiting.
And in the meantime, the large rat that caused Missy to initially scream scurries out from the hole designed for the water trough.
Wait, so it was a... Wait, then how did it... What?
You saw movement. You didn't make a good enough roll to identify what it
Yeah,
was.
I know. Okay, so I get that there was a rat there, but then
Yes.
what's of her shoulder? Because a rat didn't do that.
That was whatever his name is.
Hofstadler.
That's it. Leonard Hofstadler
Yes.
with his
Yeah.
Derringer.
Yes.
He didn't shoot me as I thought he was going to do. He shot
No.
Missy instead.
Yes. Basically, she started screaming at having seen the rat. He came charging out, assuming that it was going to be something to shoot. And because you didn't actually say anything, do anything, or try and resolve the situation except wave the lantern around wildly. Because you stood there like a lemon. He bimbled in and he shot the first thing he saw. And that covers it, Fish, yes.
I thought so.
Yes. So, meantime, is anybody actually going to attempt a medicine check?
I'm not there.
However, this does bring us up basically to parity, Fish.
So I heard a gunshot.
You heard a gunshot. And yes, you can hear howling.
And can I see...
And you can now, silhouetted against the top of a low rise, you can see a single-story building.
Just as I was about to lean back with the harmonica while I was waiting. Wasn't going to play it, obviously, but...
No. So,
Right.
Domino.
I will draw my left-hand pistol.
Domino
and-
prances and is clearly unhappy.
Yeah, and I will spur Domino on because I want
Okay.
to get there quickly now.
Okay, you are basically looking at the building in the picture.
Do I see the wolves I can hear?
Make me a scrutinize, please.
You can hide your scrutinize. I just want to double check that on these dice, yep, the Funky Dragon logo is a 10.
Yeah.
Which makes that, if it's at a distance, 19. Otherwise I only got 17.
Okay, it is at a distance. Right, what you can see worries you.
You see a bunch of idiots.
Yeah,
You
I've
can
seen
see-
Mark.
Yeah. You can see to your right, just outside the porch area of the building,
Hmm.
you see two canine shapes.
I am going to let loose with a revolver.
To your left, let me finish,
Yeah, okay.
you see a humanoid shape approaching the rear porch, basically where there's a single post standing up.
Okay, that's not going to change my plan.
Okay.
I'm going to let loose with a revolver towards where the two canine shapes are. I'm not really trying to hit them. I'm just trying to scare them off. So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm aiming at them, but I'm not really going out of my way to aim at them. So it'll be blind luck if I do hit them while cantering at night.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, yes. Right.
That said, I am rolling 4d12 for my attempt to hit one.
Okay. In that case, we are looking at roll that dice.
Rolling. That's an 11.
Okay.
And only one of my 4 dice was a 1, so you can suck it on the whole going bust thing.
Ready to talk to your GM?
Nope.
Okay, 11. Yes, that's going to hit. So, do you happen to have? Oh, you've got the rule book, so you can
I've
have your own
got the rule book.
damage.
It's 3d6 for
Okay,
a
roll it.
cult army. Wait, it was 3d6. Let me just double check that I am remembering that correctly. But
So they are size 6. God, they're the same size as people.
if I have remembered correctly, which I'm just double checking, then I've got 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 3d6.
Yep.
So that's a 13 damage. Which
Okay,
means
so that's
2 wounds against a size 6.
It is.
Ye, as they say,
It
whore.
is indeedy. Just check.
I will follow up the gunshot with a loud yell, just something wordless and incoherent, intended to attract the attention of wolves and things towards me.
Yeah.
Because while out of character, I know it's not one of them. In character, I think one of the guys from the coach is trying to get back into the station.
Mm-hmm. Okay, roll me a d20 and let's see where you shot it.
One.
Okay, you got him in the leg.
I was going to say, I do not know in this system whether that's good or not.
Yeah.
I've got protection from wolves. They won't dare mess with the Pippy kitten.
Pippin! Hello, Pippy-kun.
You hear this?
Oh, hang on. Is he purring?
He is indeed.
Oh,
Purring like a good one.
bless his little heart. Right.
I must edit all of these notices on Lazar Avatar, since that thing about viewer involvement games is not even remotely valid anymore.
No, not at all. Okay.
Though then again, I can't seem to actually manage to organise games with our regular actual players. Not a dig at you, Knight. Don't get concerned about that. So maybe viewer involvement games would be a good idea.
Right. So you've just done that. So I think you're following up with...
Just a shout, something incoherent and Texan. Just as I said, just to attract the attention, so that anything out here is focused on me rather than whoever it is trying to get into the back of the thing.
Yeah.
Because I have no reason to think that it's some sort of a weird, spooky, ghostly wolf controller. I say I mean Joseph has no reason to think that it's some sort of a weird, spooky, ghostly wolf controller.
Mm-hmm. Right then.
I am just going to try turning off
That's good to hear, Knight.
the filter and see if that's what's
You vanish.
doing
Yeah. Right. So you are going to follow up with a shout. Let's see how that affects the wolves.
it. I mean, I could try an overall roll if you want, but that's not really... it's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to attract attention.
It's what it's going to effectively be. You're attempting to get their attention, and overall is going to try it.
Overall would be
the closest thing.
2d6, so that's going to come out... Right, now we're back onto that. If you're being mean, I rolled exactly what Mark did. I've got a 6, but I also got a 1, so this may be a 6 with a bust, if that's how you're choosing to interpret this, which I think you are.
Roll the explosions, if it's 6s.
Oh yeah, resisting the temptation at this point to spend a fate chip,
Uh-huh.
because that lets me roll another die, which would
It
mean that
does.
only one of my 3 dice was a 1.
Yeah.
And on
white
a fate chip, I'd
does
avoid
nothing.
a white chip. I'd avoid the bust.
Yeah, you would.
It's not going to improve the 11 that I've got on the roll, but it
No.
would avoid the bust. Do I want to avoid the bust?
Make a decision.
No, I won't, because I think, to be honest, all the bad things I can think of that could happen, all the catastrophes I could think of that could happen here, well, really bad, would actually also aid what I'm trying to do. It'd just be bad for Rico when doing it.
Oh, bless him. Oh, dear.
I do think, however, that we maybe should change the nervous heartbeat for the freaking out heartbeat at this point. Because, fans and sewage systems.
Right. The yell
Oh, and maybe we'll turn the nervous breathing back on.
and the shout sends one of the wolves skittering off as blood stains its fur. And there's definitely
was the
wolves.
shout, that wasn't the
They're
bullet.
pale grey. Yeah. The other one stops, snarls, and stands at bay.
It takes more
However-
than an angry doggy to scare a man who grew up in Coyote Gulch.
However, to the left, the humanoid figure you saw headed towards the back of the way station stops, swings back round the pole in almost simian fashion, throws back his head, and howls.
I know I've got a wolf
And
howl on one
as
of
his
these.
head comes down, you see a glint of sheer glowing red eyes. And we'll leave it there.
Okay, well, you are not who I thought you were.
Who did you think it was?
As I say, in character, he just thought it was somebody from the coach.
Yep.
Out of character, I knew they were all accounted for.
Yep.
But in character, my actions had to be based on
They had to
Rico's
be, yes.
thoughts that this was someone from the coach trying to get back in and away from the wolves. Hence
Yep.
his actions to save said individual, which will
Yep.
not be going well for him, I feel.
Okay.